And it is just after 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and look who's here. It's New York Vinnie with Drivetime Radio. How could you possibly, where have you been? What's going on? Where have you all been? I guess you've been out voting and working in politics and all that kind of stuff because we are back. The politicking is over. The car stuff is going. And we gratefully will adorn you again every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock with the best in automotive stuff. You know, look, we all need a place that we can come and not talk politics and get away from all of that. Let them have that. Let them battle it out. We're going to be here. We're going to be with our cars. We'll talk politics when it concerns our automobiles. And we'll go from there. And I guarantee you we'll have a good time. I guarantee you that will be the way to go here for at least the foreseeable future. Yeah, maybe we'll get back and I'll get back into it at some point. But after this week, and I know we've all had a rough week, even if you're not on one side or the other, you've had a rough week. If you're on one side, you've had a rough week. If you're on another side, you may think you had a good week, but I'm not sure that it's a good week for you. Maybe instant gratification right now. You may be saying to yourself, wow, but let's see what happens. And the most important thing is that we all stick together as car lovers, as car owners, as people who watch the automotive industry. Yes, it will matter what a new administration does, because it will affect something that we've been talking about for the past years. Joining me in just a couple of minutes, my good friend Tom Voelk is going to spend some time. Who else would you want for a first guest on your reboot but Tom Voelk? Really, who else would you want for a guy who does fun things on the internet with cars? Him and one of these days, I told Tom, him and I are going to do a YouTube or a TV show together. Him and I, the big handsome guy and the short ugly guy, and we'll see if that works out. It's worked before for many people. So to our audiences on Instagram, to our audiences on YouTube, to our audiences on Facebook and on X, and on all the other platforms that we are streamed on, believe it or not, around the world, we thank you so much for hooking up with us this morning. We are brought to you by the Seattle International Auto Show, which, my friends, if there's one reason to go to the auto show this year, I'm going to give it to you in this show. But it runs next weekend down at the LUMEN Field Exhibition Center. It's always fun. There's always something going on. You can sign up if you want for a VIP tour with Tom. You can sign up to do test drives. If you are a Porsche fan, the Porsche Club is going to put on, from what I understand, an incredible display. So there's going to be lots more stuff that we will tell you about upcoming in the show. But mark your calendars for next week. It's indoors. It's warm. You're going to see I'm going to wait for Tom to tell you what you're going to see, because there's going to be a car there that you are going to want to see. He's driven it. I haven't driven it. But before we get to Tom, we thank the Seattle International Auto Show and the Washington State Auto Dealers Association for sponsoring our show, as they have now for several years. Since I've been back from Pittsburgh, they have sponsored the show every year. And we thank them because, that's how my kids get their Christmas presents. My stepmother would have no new shot glass at Christmas if it wasn't for the folks at Wasada and our good friend. Quickly before we go, I'll do that a little later in the show. I wanted to, I pulled out a list. I'm a YouTube geek in that I go and I look at all stuff about cars. I want to know when guys put stuff up about cars, and I follow these guys at Car Edge. We've had them on the show before, and they put out a list of the top 10 worst and the top 10 best-selling cars in America right now, according to Days Supply on the lot. So what that means is all of the cars that are built either go onto a lot, they're dolled up, they're put on the line, come in, you look, you like it, you take it. It should take a few days, right? Not always. The slow-selling cars are the ones that take an average of about 260 days sitting on a lot. Now, I'm going to bring Tom in here because I know Tom's going to know a lot about this. And we're going to bring Tom in. We're hoping that we're going to bring Tom in. There he is, everybody. Tom Voelk, my good friend from Driven Car Reviews. You can find him on YouTube. And if you want to spend a little coin and have a little fun, you can take a VIP tour with Tom around the auto show this upcoming weekend. So go have fun down there. Tom, good morning. How are you?
I'm great, Vinnie. It's so good to see you. It's always fun to be with you.
It's good to see you too, pal. You just bring such good energy to our little radio show here, which is, which we need.
Hard to match your energy, Vinnie.
No, it's easy. I'm an Aminatron. Do they even call them Aminitrons anymore? I'm something.
You're a gift to the world.
Well, thank you, and you are too, my friend. All right, Tom, let me ask you, just because I know you're a car guy because you do the car reviews, so it has to, you would call you a car guy. You buy electric cars. You're hip. You're right in the wheelhouse of everything that's going on in the automotive business. If I were to tell you what the 10th worst selling car in America over the last 45 days is, would you have a shot? Do you think you could even take a shot?
I would say that there would be maybe Dodge Hornet. I would say
you're in the right neighborhood.
Alfa Romeos, I would think.
Yep, the Alfa Giulia.
I would also think anything Jaguar Land Rover.
Tom, you just passed the test.
What? Oh, really?
And I didn't see. 10 worst selling cars, according to Car Edge, based on days on dealers' lots.
Yeah.
Okay. Average days on dealer lots. Number 10 is the Alfa Giulia.
Yeah.
Nice car, but it's getting
great fun to drive.
Yeah.
Really and beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather drive an Alfa Giulia than, half the cars out there. But again, it's long in the tooth. It doesn't look like the company Stellantis wants to sink any money into it right now.
Right.
I don't think they can't pay the roach coach that comes to the factory. They're having trouble paying. Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen there. But the number 9, the Jaguar XF. When's the last time you saw somebody driving a Jaguar?
Not recently. But man, the F-Type.
It's the one you want to buy, right?
Oh my gosh, it's lovely.
Yeah,
it sounds great. It's a piece of art. The interior, the smell of it, the look of it, it's really wonderful.
If you're one of those people like us that lived through cars in the 60s and the 70s, when the thing that about a car was when you open that door in the showroom and that smell came at you, that new car smell came at you, that car, the Jaguar, is the car that will do that to you, that will give you that inner child. Child.
It's like a giant Hot Wheels. Yeah.
It's great. It really is.
It is. It's like you can't buy that much style per dollar anywhere else.
Yeah. They're gorgeous cars. And of course, listen, we're going to be honest here. The Jaguar people know we're not telling JLR anything they don't know. It's the electrical place. All the different problems the cars have after you buy them. And it seems like 5 minutes after they get out of warranty.
Yeah.
They're getting better at it.
I have heard that they are because I remember when I did a piece on the F-Type, and I keep a very close eye on my comments, and I kind of wondered aloud and asked people out there in the world, comment, let me know what it's been like for you to own this car. And people were very complimentary, saying to one of the most reliable vehicles that they ever had. Now, it doesn't have an air suspension like a Land Rover. And, yeah, I mean, a lot of cars have issues with electronics these days.
Yeah.
It's not just JLR, because
my wife drives a Subi. She had to get a new all of the new electronics.
Oh yeah. Hey,
control center.
As we've talked about before, the automobile is bar none the most complex consumer product on the planet. Yeah. Right? I mean, people say, "Well, my smartphone." It's like, no. Your car has multiple processors and they're networked because the engine is talking to the transmission, which is talking to the drive modes, which is talking to all sorts of things. It's astonishing they're as reliable as they are.
I always wonder when, and you said this, I always wonder when you say, well, my transmission is talking to my engine and my transmission is talking to my rear. And I think about how my dad used to talk to the transmissions when he would be under them, pulling them out. And every time he got under a turbo hydro 400, man.
Stuff that we're really not supposed to say on this show.
Little Vinnie shouldn't have heard those things.
Yeah, that's where you learned, huh?
That's where you learned it. All right, let me round out the list here for you. I'll give you the surprise that I found on here. Well, actually, this is a real surprise. Okay, so the Jag XF is number 9. Lincoln Navigator at number 8. The Hyundai Ioniq 6.
Oh, yeah. No. Okay, I get that. Now, let me just say, I love that car. Okay? Yeah. I feel like it's kind of the poor man's Porsche Taycan. It's not as good as the Taycan in any one thing.
The headlights are as good as the Taycan.
Okay. You got that. I'll give you that.
Okay.
But considering that you can get that car fully loaded with, the dealer spiffs and rebates and all that kind of stuff easily for $50,000, which is literally almost a third the price of a comparably equipped Taycan.
Right.
Screaming deal.
Less now because of the incentives, and probably even less than that because I suspect, and I know we don't want to talk politics, but this does have to do with cars. The landscape on electric cars is probably going to change here.
Hard to know.
Year. In some senses, I think.
Yeah.
Not just by
let's come back to that.
Okay.
Let me just say, I know that the Ioniq 6 has polarizing design. It's also a sedan in a market that wants SUV crossover.
Right.
So, I mean, I just got out of, I've driven the Ioniq 5N, the high performance version of it.
Oh,
wicked fun! Oh my God!
Please have that for Christmas, man. That
right?
Ioniq
Yeah.
What is that? The N, right? Yeah, the
$65,000. Porsche grade driving dynamics does things that the Porsche doesn't do. If you want them, like synthetic shifts, synthetic engine sounds, you can turn those off if you don't want them. It is a brilliant automobile.
We talked about this years ago, that the Koreans were the ones that we looked at. And I remember having this conversation with you 3-4 years ago. You, me, and John Vincent, all I think we're on the same page on this, is that the Koreans were the ones that were going to do the electric cars right. Out of look all over the place.
Yeah.
And they were the Hyundai and Kia and Genesis were all the ones that were gonna come up with the cars that had good price point, were loaded with stuff, with tricks, Easter eggs, all kinds of things.
Okay, what else is on that list?
All right, let's go down the list quickly. We got the Land Rover Discovery at number 6. Number 5, the Audi Q8. And I wonder about the Audi Q8 because wasn't there some kind of stop sale on that for a while or something?
I'm not sure. I do know that it is expensive.
Yeah, I
Because
just got out of it. The TFS side that I just got out of was $107,000.
right. But here's the thing. It's based on the same architecture as the Lamborghini Urus,
Right.
which is literally twice the price.
And it's
Um,
an incredible car.
it's an amazing car. I drove it in Utah, and I thank the car gods for lax law enforcement on their beautiful windy roads because I just couldn't help myself. I was driving safely, but oh my goodness. I mean, it's so easy to drive that vehicle in a way that would land you in jail that
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I mean, to really test the dynamics of that car, you would have to take it on a track and it'll shuttle your family around.
Right. Right. Exactly. And yeah, that's the exact thing about it is you could take that car out to the track. If you're one of those people that live in one of those places that they've built, especially a bunch of them back east, where they have a housing development and then they have a track in the middle of it.
Yeah,
That's the car you want.
right.
That's the car that you want if you can only afford one car, because that car will take care of the track for you, and it'll take care of going down to the Stewart's root beer place with the kids.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep. Yep. Okay. What's after the Audi?
Okay, the Fiat 500e.
Yeah. You know what? I love that little car. It's
And you
great
too?
for Seattle. I can see people think that it's just priced too high because it's got a range of what, 130 miles, and it starts at $36,000, and it
Yeah, I
doesn't.
think the range is more than that, but even so, if that was a $25,000 car,
Oh, they couldn't make enough of them.
yeah, every college kid in town would have one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great design, really fun to drive. But it's a lowerish range. I mean, it's perfect for the city, but
right.
for traveling, it's a lower range, and then starting at around 36 grand. But yeah,
It's a little too
really,
much.
really fun
Great
car.
car. Great
Yeah.
car. Fun car. The Jeep Grand Wagoneer. I feel bad for Jeep. The BMW 5 Series. You know what? This is the one I think there was a problem with. The,
Okay.
the BMW 5 Series. They have a um, 305-day supply on dealer lots.
That kind of surprises me because it's a perfectly wonderful
Great call.
luxury.
Great call. What's wrong with this car?
Yeah.
Why,
Nothing
why
wrong with the
would you,
car.
if you were a BMW person, why would you not walk up to that car and say,
Because you're
wow?
buying it's because you're buying an X5. That's why.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what everybody's buying.
You want to guess the number
Hey,
one?
number one.
I think
What
it's
is it?
going to make you, I think it's going to blow you out of your seat. The number one slow seller,
I don't know.
the Nissan Z.
Oh, you know what? Now that you mention it, I never see them.
I
I,
don't
I
know.
never see them in the wild. I've driven them, personally.
I drove one at our event. Nissan doesn't give me cars, so I don't get to drive them.
Huh.
So I don't have a good enough. Anyway, but yeah, the Nissan Z 350-day supply on dealers' lots,
Huh.
which is
I would have.
probably small for Nissan because they probably got a year's supply of everything else.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
what
don't
are they
know.
selling? When's the last time you saw anybody driving a Nissan down the street? And I'm not talking about Infinity, I'm talking about Nissan.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised that there are no Infinities on that list because I mean they don't even market Infinities. I see no advertising for
Yeah,
Infinities.
you know, there's a lot of it, social media. Ton of advertising if you watch YouTube. Ton of advertising if you go on TikTok. It seems like almost they've abandoned regular over-the-air or cable advertising and gone to almost a social media setup, because the QX60, is that the one that's just out now? The
big SUV.
Yeah, it just redid the 60.
80?
Maybe the 80. I forget which one, but it is totally marketed toward take your friends out, put your headphones on, bop, it's just got that 20-something vibe. They're trying to give it that 20-something vibe. Don't know if that's going to happen. All right, let's
20-something. They're always. How many times have we heard we're aiming for the youth market? And it's like, hey, newsflash, younger people do not have the money to buy cars. They never
not
have.
a $70,000 car.
Will.
Yeah, not a $70,000 car. And they're smart enough now, for the most part. Now, you got a lot of stupid people that will do this, but you got a lot of people who look at that 60-month, I can get into this car for $149 a month. They had 84 months.
Yeah.
But then they're buying a $45,000 car that they're paying $70,000 for.
Yes.
So that's the country, this America. All right, let's do the fast sellers real quick.
Okay. I'm guessing, any of the pickups. So Ram.
There's not a pickup on this list.
Okay. Well, is Tesla Model Y the number one selling vehicle now?
No. Well, it may be the number one selling. Well, it's interesting. Tesla's not on this list, and I don't know why.
That's odd, because I think it finally outsold F-150 last year. So Ford has had to adjust their tagline to the most popular truck in America 40 years running. It used to be the most popular vehicle sold in America.
Right.
But F-150, Silverado, Ram, RAV4 is, I think, the most popular passenger vehicle. CRV should be up there.
I'll give you the list. In the interest of time, I'll just run down the whole list.
Just go down, yeah.
All right. At number 10, the Toyota Sequoia, 35-day supply. Lexus GX, 32-day supply. Toyota Corolla, 32-day supply. Can't keep them on the lots.
Okay.
They come in, they go off. The Camry, 31 days. The Sienna, 29. The RAV4, 27. The Lexus RX, 26. The Kia Forte, $22,533 cheapo model MSRP, is the third quickest selling car over the last 45 days. Now we're talking, and over the last 45 days, people want a car for the summer or for the holidays, or wanted a car for the summer, $22,530. Now they're probably more selling like $30,000.
Yeah.
But 25-day supply. The Highlander comes in at number 2 with a 20-day supply. And
I'm going to guess Telluride, number 1. No?
No. In the neighborhood, though.
Okay.
In the neighborhood. 6 days. The average time this vehicle spends on a dealer's lot is 6 days. And the champion is over the last 45 days, the Toyota 4Runner.
Oh, okay. I think a lot of people are going for the 4Runner right now because it's switching to a turbocharged 4 engine.
Yeah.
And they want the V6 before it's gone. So, hey, can I give this whole thing an asterisk?
Sure. Yes.
I have noticed, and it seems to me that Toyota's new approach to vehicles is build fewer than people want, and then the dealer has the ability to say, look, I've only got so many. I can only get so many, and it helps the dealers out. My thing is that I believe that because the Toyota Sequoia is not selling the way a Ford F-150 would. I was thinking about, when I was giving that list, I was talking about the most popular vehicles,
Right.
but the ones that are on, either they don't have the ability to make them, there's a supply shortage someplace, or they're just simply holding back. Because my dad was looking for a Sienna minivan. He wanted one. He wanted the hybrid. He had a Chrysler plug-in hybrid Pacifica, but he just wanted the Toyota. He waited for 7 months for demand to cool on that, and the dealer wanted $5,000 over MSRP. He finally shrugged his shoulders and went, you know what? I actually like the way the Kia Carnival looks better. They're giving me $5,000 off the MSRP. I can buy a lot of gas in that $10,000 price range difference. And it ended up, actually, because the Kia was $5,000 to begin with cheaper, it was $15,000 less. So he just went with the Kia. And I've heard this time and time again.
Yeah, I've heard the same story with people, is that right now there is no reason to go into a dealer unless you are looking for a very specific specialty car and pay over MSRP.
Yeah.
There's just no, those days. I hope they enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Because people are smarter now. There's more of these shows on the air. There's more people that do deeper research before they buy.
Yeah.
And they're realizing now that they don't, very rarely that right now will they have to. Now I'm thinking, if you're going down to buy a 4Runner, although
they kind of got you.
I just saw somebody talking about it on one of the forums I go into, and said that they went down to, I think it was Burien Toyota, and bought a 4Runner less than MSRP.
Oh, wow, that's great.
And they're good guys down there. I mean, Burien's good, are good people, but
there are plenty of good dealers, and then there are dealers that make a bad name for everybody, right?
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, it's just like any industry.
Exactly. All right, let's jump into the auto show, because I love the auto show. I'm going to be there next week from 8 until 10. We're going to do what we did last year, basically, which is we'll interview people who are there with specific cars. We will interview and talk to people from the different manufacturers, and then we'll talk to Tom. And Tom, who do we have from Nawapa this year? That's good. John Vincent decided to get out of Dodge. So
he's been invited to review the new GMC Sierra EV. So he couldn't make it, but Kristen Brown is going to make it.
Great.
She's really good. She knows the auto industry backwards and forwards. She'll have lots of inside baseball stuff that will astound and amaze you, because the VIP tours are, we're going to show you around the show and show you what's new and all that kind of stuff. But there's just so many cool things about the auto industry that we can tell you. Like, I remember talking to a Mazda engineer who told me that because of the paint process, that red Mazda color, Soul Red Crystal, I mean, it's iridescent, right? It's a beautiful paint. A Miata with Soul Red Crystal weighs 14 pounds more than any other car, any other Miata, because the paint weighs more. So we have fun facts like that we'll be able to tell you all about.
That brings me back, because I think this, that, in my younger life, my dad owned body shops and stuff. And there were, like, if we shot, and I used to shoot paint, and there were certain metal flake colors that if you shot them onto a car, the car weighed more.
Yeah.
They were heavier. It was a heavier volume. Enamel. If you shot a car in enamel as opposed to lacquer, the car weighed more.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a great fact. I mean, I love that.
Yeah. But and I think you and I have talked about this again and again and again. The auto show to me is the best opportunity ever, ever, ever to shop for a car, because you go there, everything's indoors, you're warm, you can go from car to car to car to car, everything's fresh in your mind, you get to sit in it, you can talk to representatives there that really know the vehicle, right? And
Right.
they're not there to sell you, because it's a non-sales show. You go there and they will give you really, really good information. There are things that I've learned from these folks, and I get to talk to engineers and designers and product planners, but it's it's just the best way to research a car. You don't have to go from dealership to dealership to dealership. And there are so many cars this year that you're going to be able to test drive, including
Well, no, you're not. Okay, which one were you going to say?
the new Porsche Macan EV will be there. You'll be able to drive it. You'll be able to drive a Taycan, which is like one of my favorite cars, period.
Who gets to drive a Porsche? I mean, here you go. You're going to walk down the street. You're going to pay, what is it, $15 to get in? And they'll give you a ride in Porsche if you got a license.
Yeah, adults, I believe, are like just under 20, 1975. Seniors are 1775.
I'm a senior now.
Military gets a discount. Here's a way to save money. Get your tickets on the Seattle International Auto Show's website, and buy your parking there, because parking is discounted at the T-Mobile lot. I believe it's $10 for Thursday and Friday and $15 for Saturday and Sunday. But really, go there first, buy your tickets, buy your parking. It's really the smart way to go. And the money that you spend on that is inconsequential when you're considering the average price of a car is $48,000 now. It's a huge investment. So you're exposing yourself to vehicles that you might have no idea existed. And people there that know electric vehicles, they can talk to you and figure out whether an EV is right for you, because I believe they have a lot of advantages, but they're not right for everybody just yet. But
Right.
Many people, they're terrific. They're actually better than gas cars. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Right.
And a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about.
Right. It's almost amazing to me that there are so many people out there that have no idea what they're talking about with electric cars. I'm sorry, but and I think, again, I'll do this because but I think a lot of it was political. A lot of it was
a lot of it's business too.
A lot of it's business. 25 years from now, 25 years from now, there will be more electric cars out on the street than internal combustion engines. I think.
We'll see. You know what? As long as they're environmentally right, because again, let's not go deep into this, but you look at what's been happening as far as weather patterns and all. It's pretty clear that there's something going on, and we do need to change things, because it's only going to get worse. But anyways, back to the show. I will preach that really, if you're even thinking in the next year of going to an auto show or buying a car, go to the auto show. Really, truly, I always say that to everybody.
There is one car that is coming to the auto show. It is an electric car.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
You will not be able to drive it, but there will be, I believe, 2 of them there.
Yes.
You have driven it.
No, I have not driven it.
You've not driven it.
I've not driven it. I have seen it. I've been in it. I've turned it on. I was at a Volkswagen event where, I had time with it, but I was not allowed to drive it. But it
It's
is
like going
very
to
cool.
Hollywood and they sit you down next to, like, I don't know, it was a beautiful actress that you look at and you just go crazy about. I don't know. You go down there and you sit you next to Katie Holmes, man. And she says, "Oh, honey, let's snuggle up."
Yeah.
But
I never get that. You're a lot cuter than I am, though.
no. But I am excited because I will get to drive it. I was going to drive it this coming week. It'll be the next week because they needed it down in Portland. The ID Buzz, the
Yeah.
Volkswagen ID Buzz.
Super cool.
Clearly, the Volkswagen has done with their van what they did 20, 30 years ago now with the Beetle. 30 years.
It's, if you're talking about that heritage bus, that's been off the market a long, 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 long time.
Yeah. Well, so is the Beetle, though, if you think about it. The Beetle
Yep.
less than 70, 82 or
The
something.
original Beetle, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Volkswagen has done a very good job of bringing that nostalgia back without just doing nostalgia. It's a very usable car that has some really super cool features. And I think, well, they will sell every single one they can because the factory in Europe, which is the only place that they're made, is capped. They can only make, I believe it's 100,000 a year. And that's for the entire world. And so how many is the United States going to get? Because, Europe wants theirs.
Yeah.
Asia wants theirs. And those things are going to be really hard to find. So if you want to see that vehicle, if you want to, say, okay, I am going to put my money down on this, you do need to come to the auto show because they're going to have a US spec one and they're going to have a European spec one.
Right. And the European spec one, if I'm not mistaken, is shorter than the American one. I think the American
it
one
only has
is a
2
longer
rows.
wheelbase. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know what the dealer allotment is going to be on those. I can't imagine it's going to be more than 1 or 2 a dealer.
I believe they're giving more to dealers that have sold more ID4s. I think that's the way it's going because they're like, okay, these guys have experience with the electric vehicles. They know how to handle the electric customer. I believe that's the way it's working.
But what that vehicle will do and why they'll hang on to it is they're going to put that vehicle in their showroom. They're going to put that vehicle next to an old VW bus. They're going to get one from somewhere or have one at the dealership that they've held. Almost every Volkswagen dealership has an old bus back when you walk back into the service department that they've had for and that will be their halo car for years.
Yep.
That will be the car that draws, your kids are going to see that car, or you're going to see that car, or your father's going to see that car, or your mother from Southern California who, let's face it, spent some time in that car with her boyfriend back then, or maybe even you. A couple of surfboards on the top.
Yeah. I don't know. I had a pickup when I was in high school, but it had a bench seat.
I have a good friend that has a VW bus down in Tacoma, and I can't wait to drive this thing down to him. He drives a 7. It's a 70. It's a newer generation. But I can't wait to drive it down and let him take a ride in it because it's just spectacular.
And aside on that, do you know James Bell from
used to be with you? Yeah.
Are you still? Because I lost you. Hang on for a second.
You're here.
Okay. Okay, so anyways, James Bell from Kia.
Yeah.
He's an executive. He was at the launch of the Volkswagen ID Buzz because he has his family vehicle is a it was the original bus, you know, the one that with the, what is it, the
19
19 window
window.
thing, and
Yeah.
it's in perfect condition.
Oh,
And he works at Kia. I mean, we all know that this business is very incestuous and everybody knows everybody. And people are competitive, but we also love to talk cars, right?
but we're
So
car people, or else we wouldn't be here.
right. So he was thrilled. He was thrilled to see that. But anyways, yeah, that's going to be at the show. There's going to be all sorts of amazing shows. There's going to be affordable vehicles, because there's that thought that there are too many cars that aren't, they aren't affordable, right? It's a big sticking point these days. But there'll be at least 8 cars there that are under $30,000 and well equipped, not a strippo thing, but well equipped. So you've got that going on. There's the new
What's the sweet spot? Let me ask you this before we go on. What's the sweet spot right now for an affordable vehicle? My neighbor is going to go buy a new car. I've been talking to her. She wants to buy a new car, and she's, she cleans houses, but she needs a car.
right.
She is afraid to buy a used car. That she's going to buy
I
something.
get it. Yeah.
And so she wants to buy something that has a warranty on it. That has,
Yes.
and I pushed her into the Kia showroom.
Right. Okay. So you'll have the Forte is no longer. It's being replaced by the K4.
Right.
I will assume that the pricing is about the same, so you'd be able to get one of those. With Kia's kind of killing it in design, so you'll get a very good-looking car for under $30,000. Nissan has the new Kicks that's available with all-wheel drive now. You can easily get that for under $30,000. Chevy has the Trax and the Trailblazer. Both of those very good vehicles. Buick has the Envista. Honda has the HR-V. Toyota has the Corolla Cross. I highly recommend, if you're going to get the Corolla Cross, go with the hybrid because the powertrain is much, much more refined.
Yeah.
But there are choices out there. And then people will say, yeah, but, I want something, like they're describing a BMW. And it's like, no.
No, you're not.
No, it's like BMWs have always been expensive. I wanted a BMW when I could only afford, a Ford Escort.
Now, let me give a little caveat there. When I got my first BMW, it was a 2002, which I think was somewhere around $4,000.
Wow.
So that had to be 1970.
I have never owned a BMW, but I get to drive them all the time. That's the great thing about being in this business. Yes. I don't get paid a lot, but I sure have a lot of fun.
But yeah, especially, and it's funny because I was going to say to you when I was reading you that list, do you notice a brand that's not on that list? And that is Chevy, and that is Buick.
Yeah.
Buick, and we'll talk about this at another time, but if you're going to the auto show, go look at the Buicks. Don't walk by the Buick.
It is the most overlooked brand out there. I know everybody goes, well, Buick. When I had the Invista that I had was pretty well loaded. It was 29 grand, and people would come up and they go, wow, that's a really great looking car. What is that? And I would go, oh, it's a Buick Invista. And they're like, that's a Buick? And then I would say, then they were like, well, how much is it? And I went, how much do you think it is? And to a person, everybody guessed about $45,000.
Yeah.
One guy guessed $75,000. I distinctly, and his friend kind of like hit him. He goes, that's not a $75,000 car. And he goes, it looks like a $75,000 car, but it was 29 grand. And it has features. It has like a beautiful LCD display, almost Cadillac-like in it. And it doesn't matter to me what car anybody buys. It doesn't, because I'm just trying to get out good information. But I always feel like, boy, if you would have just looked, if you would have just done a little bit of research, you would have bought something that you would be so happy with, you'd never want to sell the car. And that's the best value in a vehicle.
Yeah, and I think that that's a problem that people still have and probably will always have. They had it when they were, when I was a little kid, they would bring their, they bring their cars in to show my father. What did you just? I remember a guy. This guy was a salesman in Manhattan. I think he worked for CBS actually.
Hmm.
Albanian guy, and he good customer of my father's. Always gas every week. Wipe the windows. One day comes riding in, and he's in a Corvair, a brand new like '65 Corvair. Was the first year.
Yeah.
He pulls up and he shows my father, and my father's laughing at him because the engine's in the rear, and you got the Ralph Nader stuff, and but I guess he got a deal on the car.
Yeah.
So he's talking to him and he's saying, well, no, I really love this car. And I went down to Williams Chevrolet and they gave me a great deal. So my father looks at him and he says, you have 5 kids. Where do you think you're going to put them?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to buy the car that works for you. It's
But this guy, his eye caught the Corvair. He liked the shape. They probably gave it to him, for $1,900 or something like that, because you couldn't move him off the lots once Ralph Nader started talking about him.
Yeah.
And it was a good car. I mean, I had no problem with that car except the oil in the wheel, the transaxle.
Yeah. I think history, looking back at it, there was a little bit of hysteria that Nader had, and it killed the Corvair. That'll never be back. I actually thought that the Corvair is actually a beautiful car.
Oh, I love them.
They're beautiful looking cars. And I will say, historically, General Motors styling is really good.
That era, I mean, in that era, their styling was bon top. I mean, it was just it was as good as it gets.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're shopping for the right car for you, and that's a very big thing here, is the right car for you. The auto show is where you're going to want to go. The auto show is going
absolutely.
to drag you in, and you're not going to make the same mistake as my dad's friend made, and go to a come home with a Corvair when you have. He's lucky they didn't try to sell him the Corvette.
Oh yeah, and back those, I love that era Corvette. Hey, as long as you got that graphic up, I'm gonna go down a list of what's going on at the auto show, because it's not just it's largely about new cars and finding things out that you didn't know, but there's so much more this year. The Porsche Club of the Pacific Northwest has this retrospective. They've got cars from the 40s, Porsches, all the way up to now. It is spectacular. It's well worth the entry fee just to come and see that. And the guys at Avance, right?
Yeah.
They always do this amazing job with they get their club members to bring these amazing vehicles. And this time it's a little bit of a kind of a conceptual thing, Candy Crush. And so they're going to have all these super brightly colored exotic cars there, Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Porsches, and all in spectacular, as Mattel used to call Hot Wheels, Spectraflame paint, crazy colors. And Subaru, we know Subaru and dogs, they're going to have the pet adoption program there.
Yeah, that's the thing you got to keep me away from, because two years now in a row, you and I walked down there together, and 2 years in a row, I came pretty damn close to coming home with a dog.
Yeah, I would love a dog, but I travel so much, it wouldn't be fair to the dog.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know. I'm the same way. I mean, I'd love one.
But
I'm just not. My daughter is lucky she made it. Okay, I don't know what I would do with a dog. It took me time
also,
to actually, remember to feed her.
yeah, very good. As long as it wasn't Purina dog chow,
No, I want for the good food.
affordable and probably nutritiously complete, but
Exactly.
Sunday there's a Seahawks game. So, but if you want to come to the show, BECU, which is a show sponsor, is going to have the game on at the show, and they're also going to have it on elsewhere. So if you want to come down, look at cars, check out the game, root for the Hawks. Blitz is going to be there. He's going to be giving, things away and taking pictures and all that kind of stuff. There's so much fun to be had there. And also the family zone, where kids get to drive the battery powered cars and do the demolition derby thing there.
Oh, which is really
Scavenger
cool.
hunts,
I
and
love that stuff.
there's going to be video games for them to play. Juggernaut 2's there. And kids under 12 are free. And so, BECU is sponsoring that. So I really like BECU. I had my car loan through them, and they were great. The rates were low.
Well, I was just going to say, I recommend to anybody that I know that's going to buy a car,
yeah,
the first thing you should do is go to BCU or a credit union,
yeah,
and talk to them, because you will you never, if you can help it, never want to finance. I think this is my opinion, and I know this is the Seattle International, but you always want to shop. You always want to try to, when you get to the dealer and they present you with financing options, be able to compare what's best for you.
yeah, yep. Well, it's like anything. You shop for everything. I mean, I'm sort of a cheapskate, which is why I can have fun things, because I skimp on the stuff that I don't want to pay a lot of money for, and then I spend more money on fun cars whenever I can get a hold of them.
Well, the thing that I really love is they're bringing back the electric highway, which is always one of my favorites, and you can get in there and you can get into if the electric car is something that's still in your wheelhouse. If you're looking around and saying, you know what, I'm thinking about an electric car. I don't care what, I want them. Want one. Besides the fact that there are deals on them now and incentives that are off the roof.
Yep.
That you can actually get in it and drive it and get a feel for that thing, and get a feel for what get in that Ioniq 6. If they have that Ioniq 6 there, get in the Ioniq 6 and drive that car, and come back and tell me that isn't one of the best pieces of a machine that you have ever driven.
Yeah, they're terrific. And that's the other thing is at the show, there are so many different brands that you're going to be able to drive. The major brands are going to be there. You're going to be able to drive them. And what a great way to do research on buying a vehicle. And also, if you are thinking about an electric car, there are people there that really know them and will be able to say, hey, look, you can easily get an electric car, because, if you can charge where you sleep, which is, the way I always describe it, they're actually more practical than a gasoline powered car, because there's less maintenance on them. There's no oil changes. There's no trip to the gas station. there's just so many things about them that the brakes last longer because you're using regenerative braking and not physical brake pads, right?
Right.
So, and they're, inherently more refined and smoother because electric motors, there's no vibration, right? They're quieter because there's no, revving of the engine.
Yes. No, it's just
It's different. Oh, yeah. And also, if you, one of the best values in electric vehicles these days, and people think I'm nuts when I say this, but the Cadillac Lyric. The Cadillac Lyric, you could get one, if you play your cards right, $65,000, a spacious, powerful, all-wheel drive SUV that has 300 miles of range. Yes, please.
yeah.
That's an amazing deal. So the Lyric is going to be there.
Let me run down a quick list. I have a list in front of me of what's going to be there, and there's so many interesting cars. The Bentley Bentayga is going to be there, which is an incredible car. Even if you don't buy it, just take your girlfriend. Listen to me. Take your girlfriend or your wife, walk around to the passenger side of that car, open the door, sit her in the front seat, and close the door, and then walk around. She'll think you're a gentleman, if nothing else. She knows she's not driving out of there, but she'll still have the experience of my husband or my boyfriend opened the door and put me in a Bentley.
I'm going to take that advice because sometimes I don't think my wife thinks I'm a gentleman.
I think you should try that. The BMW M60 is going to be there, the iX M60, the X7, the Blazer. Again, we talked about popular cars. E-cars, the Silverado EV RST, which is something you got to see. The E-Ray, which I haven't driven yet, and I'm dying. The Mustang Dark Horse, isn't that a $350,000 Mustang?
It's I know that it's one of their Uber performance vehicles. I don't remember the MSRP off the line. My guess is that it's really hard to get.
The Prologue from Honda, which is I've seen a bunch of them out on the street. I think that's turning into a really good car. That's
their new EV. It's really popular.
Yeah, the Huracan Performante from Lamborghini.
That
sounds like a dictator. The Huracan Performante.
Yeah, I know that Open Road is bringing a Bentley Continental, Rolls-Royce Cullinan, a McLaren 750S, and Artura, their plug-in hybrid. Lamborghini's got the Aventador. So Open Road is bringing that. So really, there's something for everyone, from an inexpensive Nissan Kicks or Chevy Trax to crazy exotic cars.
Right, and the European and domestic versions of the VW ID Buzz. And I'm telling you, folks, it's worth $20 to go see this Buzz.
It's worth 3 times that. I mean, think about how much a concert costs these days.
You get a picture of yourself in this thing, and you'll be pretty freaking cool. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait to take this ID Buzz, down to Cars and Coffee here in Shoreline.
Yeah.
And our friend Lance,
you'll be swarmed.
Lance is going to be there, and I'm going to steal a show from him for one morning.
Yeah, you'll be swarmed because, people have a reaction to the ID Buzz that's just off the charts. They really do, because hey, cars are more than transportation, right? They're art, they're pop culture, they're status symbol. They're all sorts of different things, and the best cars really evoke emotion out of you, on top of being a piece of transportation.
I got a question for you, Tom. I know we're getting ready to wrap up here, but I've been, over the past month and a half, 2 months, I've been in several minivans. Excuse me, I'm sorry, people movers.
MPVs.
Yeah, didn't Mazda do that like in the 70s or 80s?
Yeah. They had my father-in-law had an MPV. Mazda.
An MPV, Mazda people mover, or Mazda people vehicle, or something like that, or moving. Anyway, is this Buzz going to set off a redesign of the van, of the minivan. And I know there's only so much you can do with it, but
Right.
good golly, they did so much with this.
Yeah.
Are other
Um,
manufacturers going to get into this and try to make the minivan cool again in the next 5 or 10 years?
yeah. Well, that goes back to that whole thing where I say I don't really care what people buy. I mean, what should it matter to me? But when I hear people saying, "Well, I'm going to buy a Suburban," and it's like, okay, have you looked at a Toyota Sienna? Have you looked at a Pacifica? Have you looked at a Kia Carnival or a Honda Odyssey? It's like, no, that's a minivan, and it's like, well, one, they're not mini anymore,
Right.
and two, th- they're so practical. They're so awesome. They're so much better than SUVs. They really, truly are. It's easier for kids to get in and out of. They've got lots and lots of cargo space, more than three-row SUVs. Um, um, and I mean, I remember my wife was like, "No, I'm not going to have a van." And then I got one for a trip to go up to Whistler. We weren't in that thing for a half an hour, and she was like, "This is the most awesome vehicle ever." And it's like, yeah. And then, our kids were older enough so that they didn't really want to be with us anymore. So we didn't need a van. But until then, she was like, "Nope, station wagon." And or a crossover. But she after the kids were gone, she thought about buying a van because she realized how great they are. And everybody goes, "Well, I don't want to drive a mommy mobile." It's like, well, what do moms drive these days? SUVs and crossovers. So break with the pack. I am a
Exactly.
huge fan of vans. I really am.
Exactly. I am too, man. I've always loved vans. I loved it when Chrysler came out, and I had a number of vans when I was a kid. Um, we had one that was called the Trippin' Van. We won't go
Huh.
into that.
Yeah, I can read a lot into that, man.
Let's just say it was the Trippin' Van. Uh, but I because they were comfortable, they weren't crushed. They were great for bringing friends. When I was a kid, we used to love to take trips. My friends and I, we'd take 5, 6, 7, 8 people in the car, take them somewhere. We go do a picnic or this or that, and go swimming and yada yada upstate New York. And we were always excited about driving a van. I mean, I had my hot rods too, but I always had a van around.
Yeah.
If you had to go pick up a motor, you could stick it in the back of a van.
Yeah. And I will leave you with this. I did, when I was writing for the New York Times, I did a story about vans and whether or not they were going to come back. And I talked to the folks at Stellantis, Chrysler, and Toyota and Kia, and they all said they all agreed on the research. But the research was, guys actually kind of like vans because they're almost like an enclosed pickup truck. Most of them, you can get a 4x8 sheet of plywood in them.
Yeah.
But it was women. Women were like, "Nope, absolutely not. I am not going to be a mom driving a minivan."
It
And
was
and it's like, and let's face it, the reality is the burden of raising kids, it largely falls on women. I mean, I
right.
really did try to do stuff and all that, but
I
the
know, thank
reality
you.
is it's the women that always get saddled with the burden, and they're so much better. The vans are so much better practicality wise than an SUV. They really are. So if there are any women out there listening to this, I'm trying to do you a favor. And besides, who cares what other people think of you? What you're driving? Who cares, right? It should make you happy. Um,
Exactly.
it's because your family. I always tell guys, you buy this big monster truck or this super cool sports car because you want your family or friends to think you're cool. Yeah, they know the knucklehead you are. They do.
Well,
Um, and
Tom, I'm gonna do something here that I think we should help people out. I think we should do something. So, how about if we give away a pair of tickets to the Seattle International Auto Show?
let's do
If
it.
Yeah, let's just uh, let's take the first person that emails me at Vinnie at Drivetime Radio. Excuse me, Vinnie at drivetime-radio.com.
I'm
That's
gonna I'm
Vinnie,
gonna I'm gonna
V-I-N-N.
try to be the first one.
Okay.
Oh no,
Vinnie,
wait a minute.
V-I-N-N-I.
I'm gonna be living at the auto
You're going to
show.
be there.
Yeah.
Vinnie at drivetime-radio.com. First person that comes up on the email that says the words VWID Buzz. That's your code. First person that puts in their email VWID Buzz.
Do they have to get the spelling right?
No, I'll
Because it is weird. It is a weird spelling.
I'm a good speller, but I'm of the school that not everybody is.
I rely on spell check. I do.
It helps me more now than it did in the past. I become, it's funny too. I become a spelling snob.
Look, I think it says something about the person. At a certain point that you're for us, it's important to be accurate, right? And so,
yeah.
I think when punctuation and grammar and spelling are correct, I think it says, oh, well, this guy, maybe I should take him seriously.
But then again, if you look at my weekly feature, it's called Yo Vinnie, what are you? WADDYA. You're driving this week.
That's okay. You have to know the rules in order to break the rules.
Well, I mean, if I said,
right?
Yo, hey, Vincent, what are you operating this week?
Yes. It doesn't roll off the tongue the same way.
Tom, man, it's been great. I will see you down at the auto show.
And I will say to your audience, come to the show. Vinny's going to be there. I'm going to be there.
I'll be there. You'll be there. We'll all be there. We'll all be having a good time.
Yeah.
I may even wear my I may even wear a special outfit for the show.
I am intrigued.
I may try to find this week a special outfit for the show.
I'm talking to the media, so I actually have to dress up.
And media don't want to talk to you.
I can't wear my hoodie.
You are the media.
I have like 40 hoodies.
Oh, man.
All right,
now. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, man.
See you you're going to be at the press preview on Thursday?
From Wednesday till close on Sunday, because it runs Thursday through Sunday, I will be living there. So I'll be there. So
you can find Tom's car reviews at Driven Car Reviews. He's got his own YouTube channel. Find him there, and I will see you on Thursday.
Yeah. Okay. Great talking to you, Vinny.
Take care.
All right.
All right. Take care, Tom. All right. Before we get out of here, we will give you the taste of Yo, Vinny. What are you driving this week? The Land Rover. I thought we were talking Land Rover before.
Oh, Vinny, what are you driving this week?
Well, this week we pretty up the neighborhood with the 2025 Range Rover Velar Dynamic SE. Now, the designers over at JLR have brought the right combination of style and ruggedness to one of the smaller SUVs in their lineup. The combo of the traditional Range Rover box with the sloped roof in the rear catches the eyes, whether it's in a parking space or rolling down the highway. It really looks good at the beach. I got to tell you, it really looks good at the beach. Accents in the right places really help this vehicle out to show some class, but where you really find class in this vehicle is in the interior. The materials are meticulously installed in this vehicle. No gaps, no nothing. I mean, this is all luxury machine, large center screen in there to give you all the information. Also acts as the control center for the vehicle. The Rear row gives you plenty of room for legs. There's no third row in this thing, so you're really going with just the 2 rows. But it gives you a lot of room for your legs, a lot of stuff to stuff behind those seats. And the one thing that you will also see in this interior is that it is comfortable. A combination of the space and the cleanliness, the minimalism that you see in this thing is spectacular. Where else is it spacious? You open the rear gate and you take a look. The cargo space there allows you to pack it and pack it and pack it, whether you leave that rear seat up or you drop the rear seat, you even get more cargo space. So if you got to haul some stuff or you're going to go camping, you put those rear seats down, take that bar out, and you got yourself a cozy little camping spot as well, if that's the way you want to go. Even a nice mat there. And it closes with the touch of a button, which I really like about the Range Rover Velar. This is a great vehicle, folks. You open the hood and you get some horsepower. The 3-liter Turbo 6 pumps 395 horses. 8-speed transmission. You get 405 pounds-feet of torque, and that takes you over just about anything you want to go over. It's a Land Rover. And look at those door handles, how they go in and out and in and out. Something for the kids to play with. The 2025 Land Rover Velar Dynamic SE is a great vehicle. I love this thing. $70,600 the sticker price. Don't forget to come and see us live at the Seattle International Auto Show, November 16th. Don't miss the podcast. We put it out every week. And don't miss us live, 11 o'clock every Saturday morning. I'm New York Vinnie, Drivetime Radio. And that is Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week? We thank you so much for joining us. I'm still getting a little used to hitting the buttons the right way again. But don't forget, come on down and see me. I'll be there at 8 o'clock in the morning next Saturday morning at the auto show. We'll put you in the right direction. Get your tickets for the auto show and make sure that you come down and you hang out. We always enjoy seeing you at the auto show. That's going to put it in the books for the reboot edition of Drive Time Radio next weekend, 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. We'll join you again with lots of cool stuff as we move our way toward Thanksgiving and toward the final day of the Bruce Springsteen tour of 2024, which will end up, oddly enough, in Vancouver, BC. So, if you're going to Vancouver, BC, if you're driving up there, if you're road tripping up there, we'll give you 10 good tips about doing a good Bruce road trip. That we'll also be taking a look at the Yo Vinnie, what are you driving this week car? And we'll have a full review of something else that we have driven in the last couple of weeks. The Honda Odyssey is one that I'm in right now, and I adore this car. This is a great minivan. My problem is it as good as the Pacifica? Well, we'll have to figure that out together. Thank you so much for listening. One quick thing. Sad event for any of us who are sports fans here in Seattle or in Portland. Brian Wheeler, who I worked with back at KJR many, many years ago. Just a prince of a guy. Did play-by-play, replaced Bill Schonely as the play-by-play voice of the Portland Trailblazer. Passed away, I guess it was Friday. Brian was a great guy. I don't think he ever met anybody he didn't like. And if he didn't like him, he didn't let him know about it. And that's the mark of a true gentleman. We'll see you on Monday with Michael at 10:10, if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Have a good weekend, folks. Stay safe and stay dry out there. Bye-bye.